Hey y'all, so I picked Lisa Congdon as my artist, and her work is just so cool. I looked at all the artists, and her work really spoke to me. It has like uplifting messages and really bright colors and like the vintage look. And so here's a picture of her with her cool tattoos. And first, I'll tell you about her inspiration. In her words, she says, I grew up in the 1970s and I'm a huge fan of bold graphic design and bright colors. I am also hugely influenced by folk art and textiles and quilts, both modern and traditional. I grew up in a home surrounded by fabric and textiles. My almost 80-year-old mother has been an artist playing with textiles since I was a kid, and now we share a studio. We had modern art posters all over our house, and I also grew up surrounded by books. Even before I became an artist myself, I loved to sew and I collected old things. I love everything vintage. I've been scoring flea markets since I was 24. I also love symbolism, so you will see symbols all over my work that reoccur in the same form but in different colors and placements. And so here is some great examples of her work. Some are real busy, like this one. The reoccurring symbols, there are lots of animals, as you can see. Birds, especially. Definitely a lot of vintage symbols and patterns. Also bright colors. Sort of like I don't know how to explain this type of illustration, but like an abstract. Like it's not supposed to look like a realistic animal. It's cartoony, but it's like abstract and cool, bigger bodies and little heads. And I think this animal has glasses. It's pretty cool. And I love these inspirational quotes down here. And there's another bird in that cool vintage pattern, the teardrop pattern back there. And these hands, she has a lot of hands in her work, and this like vintage kind of woodstocky looking flower and rainbows. And yeah, I love the quotes, and I love these like quilted sort of patterns here, but they all sort of tie in together. They all really tie in together. Good quotes, very vintage, retro, which is totally my style. Really cool. Okay, so here's a little bit of history about her. She grew up in New York and California, back and forth. Now she works out of Portland, which, if you know Portland, it's a very artistic, cool sort of artist place to live. Let's see, I'll read this. Lisa is an artist of many talents, from fine art to illustration. Authoring books to teaching classes both online and offline, she is a creative force to be reckoned with. Best known for her colorful paintings and hand lettering, Lisa's clients include MoMA, which is modern art, which is really cool. I'd love to work there someday. REI, Harvard University, Martha Stewart Living, Chronicle Books, and Random House Publishing, among many others. She is the author of 7 books, include Art Inc., The Essential Guide to Building Your Career as an Artist, and illustrated books, like The Joy of Swimming, Fortune Favors the Brave, Whatever You Are, Be a Good One, 20 Ways to Draw a Tulip, and a Collection a Day. Her latest book, A Glorious Freedom, Older Women Leading Extraordinary Lives, was released by Chronicle Books in October 2017. Lisa was also named one of 40 women over 40 to watch in 2015. Currently living in Portland. We caught up with Lisa. Okay, so this is a really cool interview. They talk about how she first got started. She was a non-artist person. I know she was a liberal arts major, which I used to be a liberal arts major, and, everyone's like, what are you going to do with that? It's going to be hard making money. And so, she kept with it. And here's another piece of art. This is really cool. Very collagey. And yeah, it looks like a couple little houses on a road in nature. Oh, it looks like a few different houses. And I love this one. This one is just very, very cool. Our future depends on you. Love that. I would blow that up and have it framed if I could. Let's see. About starting her own business, challenges she faced. I just wanted to show you some more illustrations here. Pretty cool. A rabbit is also seems to be a recurring theme. And these birds are so cool. I'm going to attempt to draw one or two on my drawing. One similar to hers. Here's another cool, colorful collage. Okay, this is what I read you earlier about her inspiration and who she's worked for, her favorite project, and her books. Okay, here we go. Do you have a preferred creative medium? So let's talk about her mediums. My favorite medium is paint. I love working either with, I don't know how to pronounce that. I even Googled it. I've done everything I can. Gouache on paper if I am working in a smaller scale, or acrylic on wood, which sounds so cool. I also make larger paintings. So her larger paintings on wood with acrylic, that just sounds even more retro and vintage and cool. The painting process is incredibly satisfying to me. Recently, I got an iPad Pro and started drawing digitally. Now, personally, I have not done that, but it sounds really cool. If this wasn't a drawing class, I would probably attempt to try to do that, but yeah. Now I'm a little obsessed with it. It's so much faster than painting. I call it my new sketchbook, but I will never get away from wet media like paint entirely. The backs of my hands are usually covered in paint because I love getting messy with it. And let's see, there's a little bit more I want to show you. Begin anyhow. She said that's one of her mantras, which, I mean, if you think about it, there's always something that we're putting off and we think we're not good enough or we don't have the means, but just saying begin anyhow is a great mantra. I'm going to steal that from her. She loves micro pens, which I do too. I don't have any in color, but I have those black ones that we've used for this class, and I love how smooth it is and how easy it is to use. I mean, obviously it's not erasable like a lot of the stuff we've been using, but I really like the look of it. And she likes it in different widths. And then colored pens, which I also don't have. I mean, I did back in school. I had those gel pens, which were awesome, but I don't have any now. But she uses the jelly roll pens in her sketchbook. And then this word again, if someone wants to tell me how to say that. Yeah, so it's for watercolor, but this has a matte finish, which sounds so cool. I need to do more research on that. She likes using watercolor, acrylic, which I will be using for my drawing. I will draw it out first, probably in colored pencil, because even if it shows up at the end of my drawing, I mean, it would still look cool with acrylic, but yeah, I'm going to use acrylic for mine. She talks about her brushes for watercolor and acrylic, and X-Acto knives, which she makes a point to say if you have small children, make sure you put the cap back on. Paper. She said, I am not a paper snob. She uses all kinds of paper, whatever is cheap or on sale.